if you really think about it, I had a friend who told me, he said, a selfish mom is the best mom. I thought, who thinks that way? But now I understand it. This was maybe 20 years ago that he said this to me. And now I understand, it's not selfish, it's self-love.
Welcome to You and Again. This is the show to be a part of, but I want you to know there is one thing that I absolutely love tinkering in. It's not something that I am like, you know how much I love empowering people, transforming people, helping businesses scale. But we all know what I feel about beauty products. Oh yeah, so good. But if you're like me, we're getting a little bit older. Brene Brown said midlife is 35 until you're dead. Well, I fall in there, and I think you might too, not the dead part, but above 35. And today I am so thrilled. I have Bobbi Vargas. She is the founder and CEO of Bodela. She is not only a visionary public speaker, she is a renowned celebrity makeup and permanent makeup artist. She's also a luxury sales expert, a speaker extraordinaire, a business and self-development coach. How cool is that with what she's doing? She's an author, and I'm going to share how we became friends. And I would say most importantly to her, she is a super mom. She is multifaceted as an expertise in so many areas. And Bobbi is dedicated, most importantly, to helping others pursue their passions and achieve success. She embraces the belief that I'm possible. She embodies the idea that nothing is beyond reach. And through Bodela, this beautiful company, Bobbi aims to empower individuals to unlock their potential and embrace a life filled with limitless possibilities. Are you guys all seeing this connection already? Bobbi, it is so good to have you. I am like beyond, I'm like giddy right now that I get to talk to you for the next hour.
Hilary, I freaking love you. What an intro. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on your show. I love absolutely everything you stand for, your community, your content. I'm so bummed I missed your last event, but I'm so excited. So I'm the first one to sign up for your next.
You're so
I'm so excited. And thank you so much for having me here. And I can't wait to share. And I hope I can come.
Yeah. I mean, what she's talking about is the retreat, everyone. We just finished it up. It was incredible. It was in beautiful Boulder, Colorado. We already have, people are already signing up for next year. It's going to be absolutely insane. But here's the thing. When I first met you, Bobbi, it was in New York City. And we were both on a TV morning show, and then actually Wake Up with Marcy. And then we ended up going to Times Square, where you had your book up on the big screen. I had mine, and we were literally like, is this for real? Like, dreams are happening right here, right now. And it was such an amazing opportunity for me to spend those few days with you, to get to know you in that capacity of elevation, of inspiration. And I thought I remember when I first saw, I'm like, I need you on the show. I loved what you do. I love your passion. But for those that don't know you, I really would love to hear more about your significant relaunch that kind of transformed you into who you are today.
Absolutely. Gosh, I definitely remember New York, and you and your husband, your family was there, and it was just so incredible to see you and your story. And I'm so just happy to be here and share my story with you. So let me just tell you, in a fast-paced city in Los Angeles and in New York, I used to be a former makeup artist. And then worked on fashion shows like the Gucci fashion show, the Jay Leno show. I did, for the youngsters, they probably don't remember this, but there was a TV program on MTV called Behind the Scenes of making of the videos. And so
absolutely.
You remember that? We used to wait like all month, I think it was, to see it. It was pretty cool. So I did the makeup for Christina Aguilera, you name it. And you become immersed in that scene, and you honestly, you fall into the trap of thinking that you're a celebrity as well. So you start to live their lifestyle because they ask you, come to our party, and now you're one of the group. And so you start to fall behind. And just as an entrepreneur in general, we're chasing the dollar sign. My personal life was set aside, my family and friends, my health, because now you're working at wee hours of the night, and you grab whatever that's at arm's reach to eat. You exercise whenever you're able to make it to the gym. So you set all that aside because we're chasing the dollar sign. Now, mind you, that's not necessarily the purpose for myself or most entrepreneurs, but it is a tool to get us to our purpose, making money.
And Bobbi, what you're saying is probably so relevant to a lot of people, because we do try to keep up with the Joneses, right? And it can be whether it's a celebrity, whether it's another entrepreneur that we're seeing on Instagram, and we're like, oh my God, they're doing so well. I want to,
and I can too. Right.
How do I get there? I'll just keep doing more. I'll keep taking more courses. I'll keep, doing all these things. And you do start to live this frenetic lifestyle where you can be working all the time.
Absolutely. So not till my 40s did I finally, met my Prince Charming, if you will. And so I met my
I met him.
Yes. Yeah. He's absolutely incredible. He's the sweetest man ever.
He adores you, by the way.
He's my biggest cheerleader, and vice versa. I'm his biggest fan. Yeah. And then I have my child, and 3 months later, I get the call that no one, and that's why I'm dying to hear your side of the story. I get the call that no one should ever receive from a doctor, and said, get in the office right now because you have cancer and it will kill you and spread like wildfire if we don't take it out. And so I thought to myself, this is great. I reached this huge milestone in my life, and now it's over. And this child will never know his mother, And so I thought, I don't know what you think of this and how you feel about people say, the skin cancer that you have, yes, it's a deadly form, but it's self-caused from the sun, right? And I thought, how could something that gives life and plants and everything on planet Earth life kill you? I said, there's something more to that. So as I'm sitting there waiting for the results, whether I'm going to die or not, and so whether I need to go through chemo, I'm just replaying my life in my head and thinking, it's because I neglected myself. That's exactly how this all transpired. And maybe the sun was the last, push towards this, but it's because I didn't eat right. I didn't sleep right. I put myself last. And as a woman in general, right? When people say to me, so what do you do? I'm thinking, I'm a woman. Isn't that enough? We wear so many hats. Right?
That's so true. But wait, I have a quick question.
Yeah, tell me.
When you you're telling me your son was how old when you got that phone call?
3 months.
Okay. My daughter was 6 months. And again, the call we both got was, all right, you need to come back into the office. No time to waste, because melanoma, cancer, this spreads very quickly.
Right.
Now, let me ask you, why were you there in the first place? Why did you go in? Were you getting a body scan? What were you doing in the doctor's office? Because mine was a little embarrassing, but I'm still going to share it. What were you doing?
Actually, I'm already laughing because I'm dying to hear yours. So I was, I want to say maybe 8 months pregnant when I turned around and looked in the mirror. I was just looking at my body, right? I wanted to see what I looked like pregnant. So I looked at my body and I saw this beauty mark on my back, and I have quite a few, but this just stood out, and it wasn't large. It was actually quite small. But it was the blackest thing I've ever seen. And so I thought, this is odd. I don't remember this. And I thought, well, maybe I should go to the doctors, but it was during COVID. So it wasn't really an urgent matter. And I thought, I'm not going to go now. It's COVID too. I didn't want to catch anything being pregnant. And I thought, and honestly, I had it in the back burner of my head. I was like, if it is something bad, I don't want to know right now. 8 months pregnant.
Isn't that so true?
It's so crazy. And that's how I found it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's interesting, you said beauty mark.
Right.
And you said it was really black. Well,
Right.
as you can see on my face, I have a mole on my face that is what I call my beauty mark, right? And so any moles that I had popping up, I'm like, hey, this is all good. This is just yet another. And yeah, some of them I didn't really like, but most of them I'm like, cool. So I went into the doctor. And the reason I was there was to, at that time, they were doing laser hair removal of the bikini line. We're not talking anything fancy like taking it all off. No. That's not what they were doing. They were literally doing the V because in those, that's what everyone was doing. So I was in there and the doctor was like, stop. I'm like, you're doing the thing. What is going on? And those days, the doctor would actually do this as well, not an assistant or a nurse. And she said, what is that? And it was on the inner thigh, my inside of my legs. And yes, I grew up in LA. And yes, I spent every single second I could at the beach. I'm as pale as can be, and I would put baby oil on. I would do the tinfoil. I mean, I was horrible, but that's what we did in those days. And so she looked and said, that needs to be biopsied right now. And I didn't even think about it. I just wanted her to get back to the task at hand. She took it off. And that's when I got the call 2 days later. And she says, Hilary, you got to come in right away. And I'm thinking, what am I missing right now? Like, huh? Like I got to come in. And she's like, you have cancer. And I remember her saying that. And I'm like, what? And she said melanoma. And I had literally no idea what she was talking about. Like I had no clue. I'm like, what is going on? Now, granted, this is 20 years ago. So I was 30 plus a bit. But here's the thing, Bobbi, it's those words like, I mean, out of thin air, you just do not expect it. And you're saying this happened to you how long ago?
Gosh, this was a year? No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
So this is very recent.
Yes,
See, for me, it's a while ago. It was the, kind of early days of, oh my gosh, we're even checking our moles and our freckles and all those things. So you're told that you have this. And at that point you're going in and you don't know how advanced it is and what happened.
Right. And so honestly, I was fearful, and I'll be honest, even though it's been 2 years, I'm still scared, although my gut instinct tells me it's not solely the sun, but because this is what doctors, right? They malpractice, they're practicing medicine. It's not set in stone. They say 50% chance or higher it is the sun. So what is the other 50%? What is the other, you know what I mean? 45%. So thinking it's, even though it's 2 years, I'm still afraid of the sun. You know what I mean? So I go out and I'm wearing long sleeves and what have you. And then my kid now, I protect him from the sun because he's almost transparent white. He's so pale. And so it freaks me out about myself and everyone around me.
I agree with you because
Right?
I can guarantee you, I was not spread eagle out on Santa Monica Boulevard, like, on the beaches of Santa. I was not trying to tan my inner thighs. So that area of my body did not get sun. And yet that's where it showed up. So I agree with you on like what's going on with, our air, the ability for these rays to get through now, the environment and how much that impacts. So I'm glad that you're bringing this up, but now that you know what you know, right?
Right.
I am like constantly scanning people. Like I scan bodies. I do like, hey, you need to go get that checked. And one time I literally said it was when I was working in corporate, and I looked at my vice president and I said, that looks really suspicious. And he kind of was like, it's been there for like 6 months. And I said, you really need to go in, at least get it checked. And he said, and I said, I'm not going to meet with you again. Like, here I am like this. I said, I'm not meeting with you again until you go get it checked. He came back stage 3, and he ended up having a 12-inch scar taken out around. I mean, it was insane. That's how important it is to get body checks now and to really take it seriously, because you don't know. I never would have thought that little teeny cute little black dot on my inner thigh was anything.
It was going to kill you. It was going to leave your family motherless and wifeless. Yeah, it's insane, like the impact it would have left behind. You know, you just think about yourself sometimes, especially being a single girl for the majority of my life. You know, it's just me. You know, my mom will probably cry over me a little bit, and then everybody moves on. But excuse me, but the fact that you're leaving this now that I'm older and I look at life differently and how important family life is and your personal life in general, I really think it's self-neglect. You know, it is the rays and the pollution and everything else. And that's because I didn't really care, right? Because I didn't think about it's just chasing the dollar sign, being an entrepreneur. You don't sleep half the day and you're on the run. And so I thought to myself, I've always been in an industry where I cared about other people's feelings. Ultimately, yes, I was in the beauty and fashion industry, but that's all to make you feel better about yourself, right? So a woman would sit in my chair and I would enhance what she wants to enhance or diminish what she thinks is a flaw, right? And then the minute she gets out of the chair, looks in the mirror and literally, hand to God, Hilary, tears would run down her face. I'm like, please don't ruin everything I just worked for. And so, you know, because she's now feels confident. And remember, then I elevated the makeup into permanent makeup. And now when I tattoo women's brows.
Wait, I don't want to go there quite yet. Because before we even move past this, I'm going to say for everyone out there, if you have not had a skin scan, that's kind of tough, skin scan in the last 12 months, this is your opportunity. You're hearing it from both Bobbi and myself. Make it happen. Okay. 100%. Now we're going to go on. But here's 100%. What I want to ask you. So, you know, a lot of times people say, you know, that we're overusing makeup, that, you know, as we go into this next phase, should we be limiting the makeup? And I've always been a fan, like, if it makes you feel good, do it. If it makes you feel like empowered, I'm possible instead of impossible, like you always say, you know, I say go for it. I know that there are people who go too far with all these things, but I really do want to ask you, at what point, how do you feel beauty products enhance our lives?
I love that question. And just the word beauty, right? So it doesn't have to be just a makeup, right, sector. It's just beauty in general, anything that's that you perceive as beautiful, whether it's flowers or makeup, right? So how important is it? I agree with you 100%. If it's going to make you feel good about yourself, do it. It doesn't matter whether it looks good or not, right? If you feel good personally, then do it, because beauty is truly in the eye of the beholder. And what I feel about beauty products, I just feel like as we become older as women, we become a little bit more confident about ourselves. And so I feel as we age, women become less. They care less about wearing products because now they're more confident. It's not about appearances anymore, right? And so my biggest part about this, the permanent makeup sector, is I want to save women time, because it's the greatest gift you can give anyone, your family or yourself included. And so this is where permanent makeup comes into place, right? So okay,
we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to hear differences between, you know, kind of putting on that makeup or permanent makeup. What are the pluses? What are the minuses? We'll talk all about that with Bobbi when we get back. This episode is brought to you by my very own labor of love, my most recent book, Relaunch. This book is a collection of my stories, other stories, and is a motivational guide to living a new 3HQ lifestyle, sparking your heart to ignite your life. It's available for purchase via Amazon. Get ready to try on the 3HQ method that I've been using for years throughout my entire life, reaching the next level in all areas, both professionally and personally. Get your copy today at www.therelaunchbook.com. Rarely do I say that was the shortest break known to man, but I got to tell you it was, because in that short amount of time, Bobbi and I have already come up with a business idea that we're talking about, and I wanted like 20 more minutes to discuss it, but I'm back. Bobbi's back. Bobbi is the CEO of Bodela, and we're going to get into all things beauty product wise that will elevate you from not only the outside, but the inside, which we always talk about the significance of that, right? It's not just how you look on the outside, it's how you feel on the inside that matters. It's the head, it's the heart, it's tapping into the higher self. And so, Bobbi, you have been a makeup artist to celebrities. You have been at the pinnacle of like where everybody would want to be in your profession. And at some point you're like, wait a second, I'm pushing so hard. I'm getting, in some regards, sick. I'm getting, my body is shutting down. As you said, I'm falling behind. I'm not eating right. And you decided to make a change.
Correct.
And you built this new business that, by the way, I love. I was just on there and I bought a ton of products. I'm so excited for them to arrive. But share with us what inspired you and why Bodela happened. Why did you feel such a need to create?
I was always in the business, Hilary, of making women look and feel better. And they really are intertwined. My mission is to intersect beauty and health, because beauty is no longer a luxury. It truly is a necessity. If you don't, it's almost like a small step that you take towards feeling good. So let's get you feeling good. How do we do this? You surround yourself by beauty. You go get your nails done, go get your hair done, something, so the minute you surround yourself by anything beautiful, that's the first step to making you feel better. You feel better, your performance is better. And this is domino effect of just, then you attract better, you do better, so this is how.
I love that. What you just said, you feel better, you attract better. Yes.
100%.
That 100%. Is so good.
And this is how Bodela all came about, is whether you believe in the magic of crystals or not, the fact that it looks pretty, it will bring a smile to your face. And here we go. I just shifted your energy from feeling okay or bad to slightly better and slightly better. And then the essential oils, they've been used for thousands of years as holistic medicine. Then there are exotic flowers and there's gold and this whole brand came about is I want to surround you with some sort of beautiful objects to just slowly shift you to making you feel better. And then there's a service part to Bodela, which is the permanent makeup to making you look better, according to what you think is better, right? So let's say you're tired of drawing on your eyebrows or you're putting on your lipstick.
Hey, are you looking at mine right now?
You are perfect. You are picture perfect.
I have to tell you, can we talk about that eyebrow thing for a second?
Sure.
During the heyday, we plucked the heck out of them, right? We just went to town. Now, all of a sudden, there's all these like hair growth. Do they work? Do you think they actually work? Can I grow back my plucked brows that I...
If that's what you want, is growing them back. I like a quick fix. That's just my nature, or maybe most of my society, my ecosystem. But there are serums that can help them grow back. There are surgeries that doctors are doing to make them grow back. And so almost like hair plugs, right? So there are those fixes. I just like the tattoo because it's quick fix. And then honestly, even though we call it permanent makeup, it's semi-permanent. Mm-hmm. So if the shape or trend change or your hair color changes, we can alter that as you go along. But what I love about also this service, the Bodela brand, is that I want to change a woman's status quo or allow her financial freedom if that's what she's looking for. And we educate and we teach women the skill of permanent makeup. We also do body sculpting. We're just adding to this line, and our body sculpting machine also detoxifies it. It addresses the lymphatic nodes. So it's a detox machine as well.
Bobbi,
so,
for those that aren't you're in LA, is that right?
No,
okay.
I'm in Las Vegas now.
Okay,
yes.
Las Vegas, that's right. So if we can't get to Las Vegas and come to your store, your shop to be able to do this, you're now training people to go out there and be able to do it at other locations.
Correct.
But let's go back. So for people who are thinking, you know what, and right now it takes me about literally like maybe a minute to do my brows. All right. And yes, I have this brow color powder. I kind of just, do it very quickly. And I don't even know what I'm doing. But, each time I go in and I see somebody else in, one of these shows where, in fact, it was at Wake Up with Marcy, the gal's like, you could really stand putting a little bit more down there. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's where I don't have any hair because I got pushed into the sharp end of the wall when I was a kid. And I have now. And she's like, well, we could do this. And she did it. And I'm like, oh, you got to show me how to do that. And that's what I think women are so curious.
Right.
We're curious about how would this work for me? And so I want you to share with us, you mentioned about the permanent makeup and how you can go in and get your eyebrows done. What happens is it a tattooing process? What happens when it starts to wear off? Like, does it change colors? What happens? What is this process? Share with that.
Absolutely. So look, in beauty or any industry, things evolve, right? So it's not our grandmother's generation where it turns gray or purple or, pigments have changed.
I was literally thinking that. I'm like, what color does it turn? What color?
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. And that's honestly, that's what I think most women's fear is, will it turn blue after a while? And so, does it still happen? It depends on the technician, right? So this is your face. So you probably want to invest in your face and go to a reputable person. But no, things have evolved. The process itself has evolved, but it is, to answer your question directly, it is a tattoo procedure, but it's not the same pigment, nor is it the same needle. So we don't go as deep. And this is why it does fade with time and it does change color. But it shouldn't. If you go to someone reputable, it shouldn't turn a funky color. If anything, it might just disappear altogether.
So how long does it actually last? You go in there, is this a one-time shot or multiple times? Tell me, because I'm actually like, I can't say I'm like 100% sold, but I am intrigued. So share with me how this process works.
Okay, so the process itself is, everyone's going to tell you, it just depends, right? It depends on your lifestyle, whether you're getting maybe too many chemical facials, and it does touch your eyebrows, so that will, or even your lips, because now we're tattooing other parts of your face, not just your brows. And so, or medications that you take, how often are you in the sun? So all of that depends. But typically speaking, you probably want to touch up once a year. So to make it refresh, the minute you find yourself reaching back to your eyebrow color to touch up over your tattoo is when you probably need to go. But normally people will do a touch up once a year. So that's, but it saves women time. And that's my goal, is to save them time so that they can now spend that time on something possibly more important, right? So with family or for themselves in a different department of life.
Oh, something to think about here, everyone. And as you're creating Bodela and you're looking at this holistic, I love the shifting of the energy.
Right.
What do you believe is the biggest, when you go to your website, when you're looking, if somebody wants to just start down this process of, I've never thought about beauty products elevating energetically. A lot of people, when they come to me, they're like, time management, I have to figure out how to optimize my time. And I'm like, actually, you don't. Optimize your energy and you will end up optimizing your time. That's the first step. And I love that I'm taking it from a business entrepreneur perspective, and you're taking it from beauty within. But kind of help us when we get to your website and people want to say, okay, I'm going to start to explore. What would be the first thing they should do?
Oh, I love this. And I'm just going to say this. We're in a culture where we're so fixated on being physically fit, right? The majority of society will say, get to the gym, work out, and that's great. But we forget that we have to also be spiritually fit and mind fit, right? So mindset. And so this is where the first thing I would do probably when I go to Bodela, we all have a vision board, whether it's physical or visionary, right? And so one of my favorite
We hope we do. We hope everyone out there.
Right. I don't know any of them.
At Relaunch, we call it the Believe It board because we take the vision board one step forward and we infuse it with energy and emotion.
Oh my God, you just gave me chills. I might just,
I'll share with you how to do it.
Exactly. And I'll credit you. So whenever I say I'll say I'll
share everything
Hilary.
with you.
Exactly. No, I love this. And so one of my favorite items on the site would be the wish bracelet. And that's where
I got it.
I love it. So that's where you write your wish for yourself, or I had mothers buy it for their sons and they write their wish for them, or a mother to her daughter who's going to be a bride, or a bride to her husband, and vice versa. And so, believe it or not, most of my clientele are men. They love this stuff. And so, which
I love that idea of giving it to the kids.
she did. She gave it to her 3 boys.
Ooh, I love this.
Right? So,
Everyone, I bought it. I just bought it for me. But now I've got more gifts I can buy.
I love it. I gave it to my stepson and I didn't write anything. I said, I want you to write what your goal is a year from now and wear it. So wearing it reminds you of your physical vision board that you forget about once you leave the house. So it's like, okay, get back on track. Does what I'm doing right now, does it serve my goal? Right. So this is the reason it came about, the whole wish bracelet. So it's what do you wish for yourself or your environment or others, and put it on you. So it turns into a habit of not forgetting about your goals. So that's why I want to say one of my favorite products. And of course, the essential oils, the rollers, it helps in so many different ways, just smelling something that reminds you of something, from your childhood, or a happy place of yours, or it's just everything on there is my favorite. It really is. I love candles. And
so I got that essential oil, and there were some of the oils I had never heard of. So I picked one I hadn't. I'm like, why not? I think it was New Energy or something.
Yes.
Of course. And I was wondering, can I apply that to the wish bracelet? You know how sometimes you can put it on the beads, or will it damage it? I've always wondered.
I love that. So you can. Now we do have bracelets that are just for the oils. It has lava rocks. So it absorbs the oil and then diffuses it back into your body. So I'm going to send you that.
That's what I need. I need that one because the lava takes it in and keeps that smell longer too.
Correct.
That's awesome. Love
Correct. I love it. Especially for those that are being a little bit more health conscious and they're steering away from commercial fragrances and they want something more natural. And so, yes, essential oils. So
Bobbi, what do you think is the biggest mistake that a mid-zone woman does with makeup, with permanent make, whatever you think? What are those mistakes that you're like, hey, just avoid them?
Yeah. Honestly, it's not even about the product itself. I think the biggest mistake us as women do at any age, mind you, is neglect ourselves. We place everyone else's needs above ours. But when it comes to product, to answer your question, is in the process of neglecting yourself, you'll run out of the house and not maybe grab your chapstick or your lip gloss or your mascara because you had to run and take the kid to school or whatever the case is, or walk the dog because he's going to pee in the house if I don't take him out. So it's the secondary, placing ourselves secondary to anything and everything is what's wrong. Because if you really think about it, I had a friend who told me, he said, a selfish mom is the best mom. I thought, who thinks that way? But now I understand it. This was maybe 20 years ago that he said this to me. And now I understand it's not selfish. It's self-love. When you love yourself so much, everyone around you, your kids and your husband, your environment is just so happy because you're happy. Now, the minute you don't feel good, that energy, because you're huge on energy, that energy transfers. Your mom doesn't feel good, so now I don't feel good. My wife doesn't feel good. Now I'm having a lousy day because my mind is with her. So it's so important to place yourself. You're the MVP of this game. Life is a game, and you're the most valuable player. And so the game doesn't matter if the most valuable player is injured or is hurt or doesn't feel well, right? So remember that. And that would be my best advice to all women is place yourself ahead of anything and everything. Your mind fit, spiritually fit, and physically fit before anything. And that's to serve others, not to be selfish, but that's ultimately is, but I'm 100%, so I'm able to give you 100%, but I'm not feeling 100%. You're getting whatever percentage I'm operating on. And it's not fair that you're not giving people and yourself 100%.
No, it's interesting because E says happy wife, happy life. And
yes.
I sit here and I give, right? I'm on call after call, and I love the process of watching somebody literally like open up to the world because they've been so closed. They've been tuning out and being able to tune in to, changing your channel, changing your energy. But so many times, I can get caught up in helping. And there was a chapter in my book that I wrote about my husband E bringing me a panini. and it was warm and gooey. And I was in the middle of writing a book, and I was in my office at what felt like, 48 hours a day. I know that's 2 days, but literally I felt like I never left. And he showed up with this warm, gooey thing. And I'm like, I finally just realized, and I wrote it in the book, I wrote it about the Panini principle, and I wrote about the pause principle, where sometimes we just have to pause and say,
Right.
where am I? Where am I right now? Not everybody else, because as your tank gets more and more depleted, then you can't give. And sometimes as we get older, our tanks, adrenal fatigue is like a real thing, everyone. I mean, this is like it's legit, no joke. And we just have to be so careful that we don't get ourselves to that point. And if you do, it's recovery time, right? So your company really is designed, as you said, it's that inside spirit will then lead to that, outside happiness and where we go. So we have to take one more break really fast. We're going to come back, but I do want people to know that you've written a book. I'm going to get to the good stuff behind what exactly, give everyone tips and tricks that you can go out and use right away when we come back. This episode is brought to you by my very own labor of love, my most recent book, Relaunch. This book is a collection of my stories, other stories, and is a motivational guide to living a new 3HQ lifestyle, sparking your heart to ignite your life. It's available for purchase via Amazon. Get ready to try on the 3HQ method that I've been using for years throughout my entire life, reaching the next level in all areas, both professionally and personally. Get your copy today at www.therelaunchbook.com. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm here with Bobbi Vargas, and we're talking about books. We're talking about beauty. We're talking about Bobbi's company, Bodela. I mean, we are talking about everything. And what I do want to have to make sure that I address before we go any further is this. We're all on Instagram. Most of us are. And sometimes we're on too much and ads pop up. And my God, everybody is selling a miracle, right? This is going to help your creepy neck. This is going to help your creepy face, your wrinkles, my God, this is the, all natural, no longer need to do anything else. How do we as women differentiate between what's really there and what's so not there? And it's just wasting our money. I got to tell you, so many times I look at these ads and I'm like, that sure sounds good. That sounds good. But is it worth $49? Is it worth $99? Is it worth $199? I'm like, oh geez, here I go again. I'm going down the vortex. And then I'm like, at that point, I'm like, back away. Just leave, get out of this vortex. So how are you now, knowing what you know, how do you help women figure out what makes sense and what doesn't?
Honestly, I'm not sponsored to say this, so I'm going to say it. If you haven't downloaded the app Yuka, Yuka, I found my husband in the refrigerator for half an hour scanning things. I said, get out of there. So it's everything health and beauty. Yeah. And you scan it and it tells you whether it's bad, why it's bad, and they give you great recommendations. I think that's going to be like my tip of the day in terms of how to quickly.
So good.
I felt so guilty throwing away half of my bathroom, even though it was brand new, because some ingredients that were in my products, whether it's hair and or lotions or makeup, were deadly products that are banned in other countries. I'm thinking, why are we consuming this? And so that's my tip for today.
Oh, Bobbi, that is huge. That is so important. I did this 6 months ago. I literally looked at all of my makeup and I said, even though I love some of the products, I'm like, is this, and I have a friend who is like over the top in terms of like, and I call and I say, okay, I really do like this shampoo. And she's like, you have no idea. You can't even pronounce like 57 of the ingredients. Hilary, get rid of it. I'm like, and now I've really simplified. I've simplified down that I'm not, and it actually helps me avoid that impulsive, like I should be doing that.
Right. And think about it. Sometimes you're doing everything right, at least what you think is right, but you still don't feel well. So it could be the lotion you use, it could be your deodorant. You just don't know. Right. And so this app has been a lifesaver for not just myself, but so many people.
Okay.
Really
So hold on. Can we talk about that deodorant thing? So it does take a while when you first switch from like alumina based to all of a sudden au natural with these good products. There is like a certain smell that's attached, for a little bit, probably like a couple weeks. But then I'm telling you, they work.
It really does work.
Absolutely. And I have now tried like 4 or 5 of them, and I have a favorite. I have a total favorite. It is like so great. And I can't remember the name of it right now, but I will go ahead and post it because some of these things, they do work. Okay, but back to you, because this is awesome. Yuka was the name. We will have it in the show notes. But so all things beauty, all things books, all things Bodela.
Yeah.
Bodela is this passion. And I know that through writing the book, you now are even more interested in helping people understand it's not just about saying you're into mindset shifting, habit creation. You're doing something about it. Can you share with
100%.
us what you're going to be doing here or how we can get involved in this?
Absolutely. So the name of the book is Strategies for Success. It's expanding your potential, because we all, if you ask anyone, including myself, I ask myself, am I operating at my highest potential? And I can always do more. Everyone can do more. They just don't have the strategies or the tools or the skills, right? They just want the blueprint. And here we are. I'm thinking, just like you said, you have, certain things that your husband's calzone, I think it was, or the pause
panini,
method.
the panini effect.
Panini, sorry. The panini. So the panini or the pause method. So now you're actually calling them something, and that's exactly what I did. Unfortunately, it's not in the book, but the book is a great start to helping you with strategies. But on the site on bobbivargas.com, we will have PDFs of literally a blueprint. So here's a quick example. Choose a goal. Personal or a professional goal. And on the top of the list on a piece of paper, write down that goal, whether it's to lose weight or vacation or purchase something. So write down that goal. On the left column, write everyone's name that you're in communication with right now. And then the column next to that, I want a yes. The column next to that, then a no. And then the last column is a maybe. Now start shifting names over. Yes, no, maybe. Can they help me achieve that goal? Right. So now your 8 hours of operation or 10 hours of operation. If a no column calls me, I'm not going to take that call before I take the yes or maybe column. Right. So this is how you know who to eliminate just till I reach my goal, and then start a new sheet with goals. And there are so many different formulas that I'm going to put together so that people, because I have people say, well, I don't know, this person calls me and they're on the phone for an hour. And then I'm thinking, I just wasted an hour on the phone, not because I dislike this person, but I had something else to do, and that altered my day. So now I hope those little formulas will help, just organize time management. We were talking about time management earlier, help you with time management, because that's, I want people at the end of the day to pause and think, gosh, I had a productive day. And that's my ultimate goal. When you feel productive, you feel great about yourself, So ultimately, that's what it is.
And as you elevate your energy to have that, and what you're doing is allowing for there not to be an energy leak, right?
Exactly.
When you start to talk and, hey, we all have this happen. There's people that, they will, you tell them, hey, I got 10 minutes, and they're like, blah, 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 I got this, and I want to talk to you. And you're like, oh, I don't have time for this right now. And right. I think that boundaries is really, really, really hard. And it goes back to boundaries and beauty too, right?
Right.
Sometimes we're trying so desperately for the fountain of youth, right?
Yes.
And keeping ourselves looking the way, we'd like to, that we do take things over the top and sometimes, take things too far. Something that I came up with probably about, I'd say maybe 8 years ago was the Get Real project or Project Get Real, one of the two. I can't remember which one I actually bought and everything, but there's something really great that when you get super comfortable with yourself, you can go out with just a little lip gloss on, right? And everyone has their own little thing. Like, I can't go out without, mascara. I can't go out without a little blush, without my eyebrows, without my, lip gloss. Mine's lip gloss. I can totally put my hair back. If I have a little lip gloss, I'm good to go. What would be yours?
Oh, my eyebrows. And that's why I tattooed them.
So you literally can go from like, a cup of coffee or tea in the morning to boom, I'm out the door. That's so
I'm out,
sweet.
literally roll out,
Yeah,
So
see, that's so good. So what is up next for Bobbi?
I love that question so much. Like my purpose is so much greater. So what Bodela does, a percentage of the proceeds will go to a charity that is so close and dear to my heart right now, is to help survivors of sex trafficking children and women. We're purchasing beds for them. And, it breaks my heart to tell you this, but there are only 24 beds available for 400 applicants in the state of California. Imagine that. We also teamed up with, speech therapist, who's also a dear friend, and she will help them rehabilitate their speech from the trauma they've endured. So the loss of speech, I should say. And then we also educate women, teach them a skill on body sculpting and permanent makeup. To now they have a skill, they can go out there and work. We employ them if they don't have work until they can get back on their feet. So that's our mission, is to just educate and allow people to become more self-independent and recover from any trauma they might have endured, and so that's next.
You know what? That is something near and dear to me, because I was on 3 Strands aboard for years. And I'm actually going to be interviewing the woman who is the CEO of 3 Strands to talk more about having people gain awareness about what's really going on with human trafficking and the lack of support. So kudos to you. I mean, yet again, something else that we have a common interest in. You did just mention something that I do, this whole concept of body sculpturing. Can you explain, what is that?
Absolutely. So it's a device, it's a machine that has several handles, and it targets areas of your body that you can't seem, after, going to the gym, that you can't seem to target. It also lifts, tightens the skin. It detoxes the body of your lymph nodes, of the toxins. What lymph nodes are, it's almost like the tubes or tunnels that your body, it just stores the toxins from the food or environment that you consume. And that's what it exactly does. It targets that. It's almost like getting a really deep massage, and then you have to rush to the bathroom, and there you go. So it's a great machine. I know.
Okay, so hold on. So is it painful?
No, not at all. No. All those treatments, there's no downtime. You can go to work right after the treatment. It's great for anyone that wants to add extra, increase their income, whether it's a stay-at-home mom. This is a machine that you can put in any room, and it's portable. You can drag it from one room to the other. It has wheels. Or for, let's say, a personal trainer or a massage therapist or a tanning salon. So anyone that wants to increase their income by, what were we saying? I think $45,000 to $50,000 a month. They can pick up the skill in the machine and get to work. And we do everything. We'll help promote you. We'll market you. We'll train you.
This is incredible.
It's so
great. And so how long does it take to learn how to do something like this?
One day. You could do it online or in person.
Is there any way they can screw up? Like, are there because I've heard horror stories about things like Cool Sculpt and other, areas when people don't know what they're doing. I'm sure there's 1,000 people who are like awesome, cool sculpt, but can you mess up with what you're talking about?
Absolutely not. Now, look, the right training and the right technician will give you better results than one who isn't well trained, but you cannot screw up. And that's the great part, because you're right. Not only have I've worked with plastic surgeons. So I've seen poor jobs in terms of freezing the fat. I've seen it. And unfortunately, sometimes the doctors can't fix it. And so with this, they cannot screw up. Now, you will achieve better results with someone who's better equipped, whether it's the machine or the training.
Yeah. And I think that there's, obviously the fear out there. I remember my daughter's tutor had done it, and I'm like, woo! Oh my God. Yowzers. So, as we're wrapping up here, how can people find you besides the show notes? How can we stay in contact with you and just keep this incredible relationship going?
I adore you. This was a great experience, and I hope I was of value to you and your audience. And you can find me at Bobbi with an I, Bobbi Vargas or Bodela, Bodel on Instagram, or Bodela.com, and at Bobbi Vargas on Instagram as well.
Oh, you know what, Bobbi? If I were to say at this point, there is so much that you and I have very common feelings around and support. It has been so much fun to talk to you. I'm excited for others to continue to follow you. And for those that are right now thinking, you know what, I'm in the middle of a relaunch. I want you to think about, what do you need to do today? Is it going to the doctor? Is it starting to protect your face, body from the sun? Because we know it's damaging, because we know there are issues. But when you really realize that you need a relaunch today in your business, in your life, there is a place that you can go, and it's the relaunchco.com. Come take the quiz, see where you compare with the 3HQ, the head, the heart, the higher self. So head on over to the relaunchco.com. And until next week, relaunch now. If you like this video and want to get more like it, head over here.